Sleepless Society, Episode 2, The Psychology of Being Too Self-Aware. Let's start with a simple question. What does it mean to be too self-aware? Self-awareness is normally seen as a good thing. It means you know who you are. You notice your feelings. You know how you affect people. You think before you speak. You take time to understand why you did something. But what happens when you're always watching yourself? Always thinking about how you sound, how you look, what others might think? That's not self-awareness anymore. That's self-monitoring. That's being stuck inside your own head. Psychologists say that self-awareness has two sides. One is helpful. One is harmful. The helpful side is called private self-awareness. That's when you think about your values, goals, and emotions. It's the voice inside that says, I feel nervous. Why is that? I want to grow in this area. That conversation made me sad. It helps you understand yourself. It helps you reflect and make better choices. But the harmful side is called public self-awareness. That's when you're constantly thinking about how you appear to others. It's when you're too aware of being watched. Do I look weird right now? Did I say something dumb? What if they think I'm annoying? It's like there's a camera on you 24/7 and you can't turn it off. When this kind of self-awareness gets too strong, it becomes a problem. You stop acting naturally. You overthink simple things. You feel disconnected from people, even when you're with them. You become your own worst critic. You can't enjoy life because you're always watching yourself live it. And here's the truth. This is more common than you think. Where does this come from? There are many reasons why someone becomes too self-aware. 1. Childhood criticism. If you grew up being judged or corrected a lot, your brain learned to scan everything you do. You tried to avoid getting in trouble. You tried to be perfect. And now, as an adult, that scanner is still active, even when there's no danger. 2. Social anxiety. People with social anxiety are extremely self-aware. Studies show that they often see themselves through a distorted lens. They believe they are being judged, even when they're not. 3. Trauma. If you've been hurt emotionally, your brain becomes more alert. It watches everything around you to avoid being hurt again. But that alertness turns inward. You become afraid of your own behavior, afraid that one wrong move will lead to rejection. 4. Perfectionism. Perfectionists are often too self-aware. They don't allow mistakes. They feel like they have to perform well all the time. This leads to overthinking every word, every move, every facial expression. 5. Being the quiet one. Introverts or deep thinkers can also become too self-aware, not because they're shy, but because they notice everything. They reflect a lot. They watch people. And sometimes they turn that lens inward too often.
What happens to the brain? When you're too self-aware, your brain activates the default mode network. This is the part of your brain that runs when you're not doing a task. It's where self-reflection, memory, and future planning happen. But when this network is too active, it leads to overthinking, self-criticism, rumination, or replaying the past, and anxiety about the future. Functional MRI scans show that people with social anxiety, depression, or high self-focus have hyperactive DMNs. That means your brain is too busy thinking about you. How it feels to be too self-aware. People who are too self-aware often say, "I replay every conversation in my head. I feel like people are watching me all the time. I can't enjoy myself in groups. I'm too focused on how I appear. I overthink what I wear, how I walk, how I laugh. Even when I'm alone, I feel embarrassed about things I did years ago." It becomes exhausting. You're not just living life, you're analyzing it in real time.
Why you deserve relief. You are not broken. Your brain has learned a pattern to try to keep you safe, but that pattern no longer serves you. The first step to peace is understanding, and now you're beginning to understand it. Take a deep breath. We'll go deeper in the next chapter.
Chapter 2. The Daily Struggles of Being Too Self-Aware. Being too self-aware doesn't just show up in deep thoughts or emotional moments. It sneaks into your everyday life. You may not realize how often this happens, but let's walk through a day in the life of someone who's always watching themselves. Morning thoughts. You wake up and immediately start thinking, "Did I reply weirdly to that message yesterday? Should I have smiled more in that meeting? Was I too quiet at dinner?" Even before breakfast, you're already reviewing your mistakes, real or imagined. When you get dressed, you don't just ask if you like the outfit. You ask, will they think this looks okay? Is this too much? Too little? Will I stand out or blend in? In social spaces, at school, work, or anywhere public, your brain is running a background scan the whole time. Did they look at me weird? Was my voice shaky? Did I just say something stupid? You may avoid speaking not because you have nothing to say, but because the thought of being noticed is terrifying. Even when you're with people you like, you feel like an outsider in your own body. Your mind whispers, "Am I talking too much? Did they just fake laugh at my joke? I shouldn't have said that." Overthinking conversations. After a simple talk, you replay it in your head like a movie. You zoom in on your words. You overanalyze your tone. You even wonder about the silences. Was that silence awkward? Did I offend them somehow? Why didn't I smile more? This constant self-review is called rumination. According to psychology, rumination is linked to anxiety and depression. It's when you obsess over the same thoughts again and again, usually negative ones. It doesn't solve problems, it creates new ones. Self-sabotage. Because you fear judgment, you may stop trying. You may not raise your hand in class. You might not apply for the job. You cancel the date. You stay quiet in group chats. It feels safer to disappear than to risk being seen. But in trying to protect yourself, you start losing chances. And that leads to more regret, which leads to more self-awareness. It becomes a cycle. Body awareness and shame. Too much self-awareness isn't just mental, it's physical. You might feel too aware of your hands, posture, or voice, embarrassed for no reason, like you're being stared at even when no one is looking, nervous just walking into a room. This is called self-objectification. It happens when you start seeing yourself the way others might, instead of just being. It makes you shrink. It makes you want to disappear. Social media multiplies self-awareness. You're always seen, always judged, always compared. Likes, shares, views, they feel like a test. Your mind says, this post didn't do well. Maybe I'm not interesting. They didn't react. Maybe they don't like me. Everyone looks confident. Why do I feel so weird? In a world that demands visibility, self-aware people feel like they're being forced onto a stage they never asked to be on. Even at night, you finally crawl into bed hoping for peace. But the quiet brings the thoughts back. Everything you said, everything you didn't, every awkward moment, every silence. I can't believe I said that 3 years ago. What if they hate me now? I should have done better. You want to sleep, but your brain replays the day like an unwanted movie. This is nighttime overthinking, and it's common among people who are overly self-aware. What the research says. Studies show that people who ruminate too much are at higher risk for depression, anxiety, burnout, low self-esteem, social avoidance. The University of Michigan did a study showing that people who are highly self-focused have more negative self-beliefs, and these beliefs affect their entire view of the world. Another study from the Journal of Personality found that too much self-awareness can hurt decision-making. Why? Because people second-guess themselves too much and end up doing nothing. You're not alone. If you saw yourself in any of this, take a deep breath. It doesn't mean you're broken. It means your brain learned to be careful, to scan, to protect, to survive. But you deserve more than survival. You deserve freedom. And that starts with learning how this self-awareness affects your confidence and relationships. We'll talk about that next.
Chapter 3. How too much self-awareness affects relationships and confidence. Let's talk about something deeply personal. Your connection with people. You might be kind, thoughtful, quiet. You want to build real friendships. You want love. You want to be seen and accepted. But something keeps getting in the way. That something is your own mind. Conversations become a test. When you're too self-aware, simple talks feel like performance reviews. Instead of enjoying the moment, you're busy thinking, did I say the wrong thing? Am I boring them? Do they really want me here? This self-focus makes it hard to truly listen because you're too busy checking yourself. You can't relax. You can't be real. So even though you're present, you don't feel connected. And people may sense your discomfort, not because you're awkward, but because your guard is always up. You hide the real you. Because you're afraid of being judged, you hide. You say less. You avoid deep topics. You keep your humor to yourself. You shrink your voice. The result is people never get to know the real you, and you feel alone, even in a crowd. This creates something psychologists call emotional disconnection. You want to bond, but your fear of judgment builds a wall. That wall keeps you safe, but also keeps you lonely. Romantic struggles. In relationships, too much self-awareness can feel like never knowing if your partner really likes you, overanalyzing every text, apologizing constantly, feeling like a burden, being afraid to ask for what you need. You're not trying to be dramatic, you're trying to stay accepted. But this constant fear of being too much creates tension. Your partner may not understand why you freeze up, why you hold back, why you don't believe their affection. The truth is, you may trust them, but not yourself. Low self-confidence. When you're too self-aware, confidence feels far away. Even when you succeed, you question it. Did I just get lucky? What if they find out I'm not that good? Do I even deserve this? You downplay compliments. You doubt your strengths. You compare yourself to everyone. This is called impostor syndrome, a real condition studied in psychology. It happens when you feel like a fraud even when you're skilled, and it's more common in self-aware, sensitive people. Comparing yourself. You look around and think, everyone else seems so natural. They speak so easily. They're not overthinking everything. But that's just your brain lying to you, because you don't see their doubts, only yours. According to a study by Cornell University, people tend to overestimate how much others notice or care about their behavior. This is called the spotlight effect. It means you think people are watching you more than they actually are. Most people are too busy thinking about themselves to judge you. Emotional exhaustion. Always monitoring yourself is draining. It takes energy to be on all the time, to rehearse your words, to analyze your every move. This leads to social burnout. You may cancel plans often. You may avoid new people. You may feel like life is just too much. This isn't laziness, it's emotional overload. Your nervous system is tired of scanning for threats, even when there are none. What the science says. Psychologists say that excessive self-focus is a form of cognitive distortion. It twists reality. It makes neutral events seem negative. It turns small mistakes into huge problems. This kind of thinking is linked to social anxiety disorder, avoidant personality disorder, generalized anxiety disorder, low self-efficacy, not believing in your own ability. But here's the good news. These patterns can change. Your brain can learn to relax. You're not too much. You're just tired of being alert. You don't have to explain your thoughts to everyone. You don't need to be perfect to be loved. You don't have to replay your day 100 times. You can learn to be present without analyzing every moment. You can trust yourself, even if your voice shakes sometimes. You can breathe again, even if you've been holding your breath for years. In the next chapter, I'll walk you through how. Chapter 4. How to quiet the inner camera and reclaim peace. It's time to let the inner camera rest. Let's talk about how to gently turn down the volume of self-awareness and live again. This is not about stop thinking. It's about not letting the thoughts control you. 1. Practice observer mode. This is a technique for mindfulness. When a self-critical thought appears, you say, "Ah, I see you. There's that thought again. You're trying to protect me." You don't fight it. You watch it like a passing cloud. This teaches your brain a thought is just a thought. 2. Journal without editing. Set a timer for 10 minutes. Write without thinking. Don't correct yourself. Let the raw, honest thoughts spill out. This helps move self-awareness from spinning in your head to something you can see. You gain clarity and stop holding it all inside. 3. Exposure to being seen. Start small. Post a voice note. Share an unfiltered photo. Speak up once in a meeting. Wear what you want, not what you should. Each time, remind yourself, "I survived being seen. The world didn't end." This slowly shrinks the fear. 4. Connect without performing. Spend time with people who don't make you feel watched. Let silence happen. Let awkward moments pass. Every time you're real and still loved, your brain rewires. You learn being authentic is safe. 5. Study compassion-focused therapy. CFT teaches you how to treat yourself like a close friend. One exercise. Imagine a younger version of you, the child who learned to scan and perform. Now say, "You did your best. You were just trying to stay safe. You deserve rest now." This builds inner safety, the key to softening self-awareness. 6. Replace the inner voice. Notice how you speak to yourself. Would you say that to someone you love? If not, change it. Try phrases like, "It's okay to not be perfect. They're probably not judging you. You can be nervous and still worthy. You don't have to earn your place." Speak softly. It changes everything. 7. Break the loop in the moment. Next time you're stuck in a thought spiral, try this. Name 5 things you see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you hear, 2 things you smell, 1 thing you love about yourself. This pulls your brain out of overthinking and into the present. Being too self-aware is not a failure. It's a response. It's your brain trying to stay safe in a world that once felt unsafe. But now you can choose to rest, to laugh without checking your face, to speak without editing your voice, to live without watching yourself live. The goal isn't to lose awareness, it's to add kindness to it. Because awareness without compassion is self-doubt. But awareness with love, that's wisdom. If this felt a little too real, that means you're not alone. And if your thoughts feel heavy tonight, come back here.
This space is for the quiet ones, the deep feelers, and the overthinkers who just need a soft place to land. Subscribe to Sleepless Society for more stories like this. And if you stayed until the end, type "I deserve to rest" in the comments. I'll know you're one of us. You are not broken. You are becoming. See you in the next episode.